So it's no surprise that if you saw my last video that I love the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, but there is one glaring thing that I hate. And I mentioned it in that video and I've mentioned it in past videos, but I'm done complaining about stuff without a solution. So that's what this video is. This video is solving the #1 problem with the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. And that's its battery life. What's good, creative fam? Brandon Washington here. And first of all, if you're brand new to the channel, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button because this channel is all about filmmaking gear, tips, and tutorials. And in today's video, we are solving probably the #1 most frustrating thing about the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, and that is its battery life. Now, do not get me wrong. The Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera is an amazing camera. The quality that you can get, the ability to pull colors, the fact that you have access to Blackmagic RAW for something that's less than $1,400 is nothing short of amazing, which is the reason why dealing with something like its very low battery life really is something you just kind of learn to deal with. I mean, honestly, the camera is so good that I wouldn't let something like that deter you. However, don't just sleep on it either. I mean, what I mean by that is don't just accept that this camera has poor battery life. Embrace it, because what I have done is I have tried to find the solution and the best way possible to handle that low battery life. And these are my current solutions. Now, what I want to do in this video is walk you guys through my battery solutions. Now, I have tested Canon Lp batteries and I have tested a handful of V-mount batteries. And so what I want to do is show you guys a couple options to choose from, a couple to avoid, and give you guys some insight on what to look for when trying to power your Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera in the best way possible. Now let's first start off with the Canon Lp batteries. Now when it comes to the Canon Lp batteries, not all Canon Lp batteries are made the same. Do not think that by going on Amazon and just buying a Canon Lp battery that you're getting the best bet. Also, don't consider the fact that just because your camera came with a Canon Lp battery means you got the best battery you could get. Let's face it, currently I am shooting on 3 different types of batteries. One is pretty much just there because it came with the camera. This battery here, in my opinion, is terrible. Blackmagic, you make amazing cameras, but I know y'all didn't make this battery and it shows. This battery here, it doesn't cut it. I mean, in my honest opinion, they should have just not given me a battery because this thing really doesn't do anything for me. I strongly recommend that if you are going to pick up this camera that you buy batteries when it ships. And the reason why I say that is this battery here has the tend to die on me around 20%, sometimes even 30%, depending on what I'm shooting in. On top of that, I can actually turn off the camera, turn it back on, and then still squeeze out maybe a couple more minutes before it dies again, somewhere around 15%. I can then turn the camera off, turn it back on, and it'll continue to work for me until it gets down to about 10, and then it's pretty much done. That is probably the most frustrating thing with this battery. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. That is not the most frustrating thing about this battery. The most frustrating thing about this battery is that this is supposed to be an official Canon Lp battery, yet whenever I put it on an official Canon Lp battery charger, it doesn't charge. I don't understand why, but trying to charge this thing on an official Canon Lp charger, it doesn't work. So yeah, I don't like this battery. You can toss it. So now let's get into my 2 official suggestions. Now, this is an official Canon Lp battery made by Canon. This is by far the best way to go. However, it is also the most expensive way to go, which is the reason why I like these guys here. These are the Wasabi Lp batteries, and you can buy these in a pack of 2 that also come with a dual charger, and these things are not only inexpensive, but they work phenomenally. I've actually seen this thing go all the way down to 2% before my camera turns off, which is absolutely amazing. When you are relying on a battery, especially one like this, that's only gonna last you about whoops. That's only gonna last you about 45 minutes. You wanna make sure that you're squeezing every ounce out of that battery. And so these batteries are awesome. Now, the Canon batteries are equally as good. They work phenomenally in this camera. However, they're just expensive. I strongly suggest buying yourself a handful of these. I personally have 4 of these batteries along with this battery here, and then I guess that other battery, you can count it. So 6 batteries total, but that is more than enough for me to get by using the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera on a full day shoot, especially when I'm using it on a gimbal. Now, when I'm not using it on a gimbal, that's when I use my V-mount batteries. So let's jump into the V-mount batteries and let me show you which ones I've been using. Now, first of all, for those of you who don't know what V-mount batteries are, that's these big guys right here. The reason why they call them V-mount, well, it's because they have this little V locking mechanism on the back. These batteries also come in a form called gold mount, which you could absolutely use, but I personally find that V-mount works with more of my accessories, so I'm just gonna keep rocking with V-mount. Now, not all V-mount batteries are created the same. Some manufacturers like to go way above and beyond when they're adding in, special specs and things like that to the V-mount batteries. But for the most part, these are industry standard batteries. No matter what type of cinema camera you are using, you can tend to find a way to power it using V-mount, which is another good reason why these are great long-term investments. Now, I have 3 different types of batteries here that I've been using with the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, and I want to quickly just break them down to you because all 3 of them are great. However, one currently is kind of my favorite, and I'll explain why in just a second. So the first one is actually the very first V-mount battery I ever had, and that is this Komar D&O Lightning V-mount battery. Now, this is a fairly inexpensive battery. I'm pretty sure you can pick it up on Amazon for about $100. And this is probably the most basic battery there is. This is one of the Amazon official batteries, so you're pretty much solid on picking one of these guys up, as awesome as they are. It is a little limiting. Obviously, one thing about V-mounts that are really nice is that they have very specific amounts of voltage that they can put out. Now, how much your camera eats up of that, it's gonna vary. But like this one, for example, is a 95 amp or 95, whatever. It's 95. This one here is a great starter V-mount battery, and again, starting at $100, it is awesome. I can run my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera off this battery all day long, especially with that V-mount adapter cable that I bought to go with my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. The next battery that I picked up was actually something that I got to be a little bit more beefy, and that is this Mattox V-mount battery. Now, this thing is a little bit heavier, but where this one was 95 watt hours, this one is 158 watt hours. And the reason why I went with something a little more beefy was because I was looking for a V-mount battery to not only power the camera, but to also be able to power my monitor and even a wireless transmitter. And this thing works great for that. This, attached with all the accessories, this thing will literally last me all day shooting on a tripod, which is phenomenal. So if you are looking for something a little bit beefier, this is definitely the way to go. Both of these are great. I have no issues with either one of them, but these are both available on Amazon. But now let's jump into my new favorite V-mount battery, and that is this guy. This one is the Sunwell V-mount battery. This is a 98 watt, so 95, 98, 158. This one here is really, really nice. Now, it's very small. It's kind of lightweight. It's actually very similar to the 95. I can't really tell which one weighs more, but this one is actually packing a really cool punch, and that is the fact that it doesn't just have one DTAP port on it. It actually has 2. It also sports a USB port on the top as well. As I mentioned earlier, now that I've been rigging out my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, it's been kind of nice to be able to attach all my accessories to the actual V-mount battery, and that way I only have to worry about one battery while shooting. This thing has been so beneficial when out filming because I can not only kind of power my monitors, but I can also power, like I said, a wireless transmitter, or even just charge my iPhone if I wanted to on set. Especially because sometimes I like to use my Blackmagic app on my phone to actually control the camera, and so being able to easily charge my phone while I'm doing it is really, really beneficial. So this battery here is really nice, and I have to thank the guys over at Sunwell. They actually reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to test out their battery, and I have to say I absolutely love it. Now I'm actually looking at one of their bigger ones to test it out and see how much better they are. But this is definitely a brand I would strongly recommend you guys check out, and of course I'll have links to everything down below in the description. You know, when it comes to the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, it is a phenomenal camera, but it's only as good as it is when it's turned on, and that is the reason why batteries are so crucial for this guy. If you guys are interested in this camera or in any of the accessories that I talked about in this video, definitely check out the links down below because I'll have everything linked up. I strongly recommend that if you are someone who has been on the bubble about getting the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera and you primarily film and you're behind the camera, then I do think that this is a great camera for you, and hopefully with this video kind of going over some of my batteries, you'll have a better idea as far as how you can actually power this camera in order to work within your workflow. But personally, this thing is sort of like a little baby Red, and actually next week I'll be getting my hands on a Red so that way I can actually compare it to it, and of course I'll make a video so that way you guys can know, because since shooting on this camera, it's really got me asking, do I really need to upgrade to a Red, or is this good enough?